So, yeah, I'm here. Good morning, good day, good night, good everything. Rhetorical Arts here. And I did a video. Technically, in my world, it's today, but in your world, it would be yesterday, on the Elsewhere Estate, one of the 3 states of creating art and life, and for me. And in that one and in the Their State video, I touched kind of somewhat on just my organization and structure and kind of some things that I use to set myself up in a certain way, and my struggles and journey and continuing on that road of organization and structure and in health. Organization and health are just huge things for me right now. But anyway, I was sitting here and I was just thinking to myself, like, man, I think you need to go more into some of how you go about organization and the way you see it and some of the ideas that you're using to kind of like create a structure of freedom in your life, and of having fuller experiences, training a structure for fuller experiences in your life. So I was like, okay, yeah, let me sit down, let me do this. I think of what I use in terms of how I structure my time and how I structure myself and organization. Again, I'm in the process. I'm not perfect, but I use something I call it storylining. And in storylining, really any issue that occurs comes down to 2 questions and 2 questions and answers, because I think answers are often in the questions that we ask. So there are 2 question answers, and the 2 question answers of storylining for me are about, do you need to restructure your setting or reset your structure? So when I'm looking at, and the combination of structure and setting create a storyline for me, as to the line that what I want to tell in how my day occurs, and the line of which I tell my story on for the day and story my day through. Restructure your setting, reset your structure. For me, it's that simple. So, like, for example, resetting your structure. For me, resetting my structure means that what I'm trying to do actually works, but I'm not in the workplace for it to really happen. The habits I want to build really work, but I'm not in a habitat that supports it. Example, last year, I'm in Pittsburgh, and I got there in late 2007, and during that year, I found it really hard to actually do the things I wanted to do and be the person I wanted to be, and live the life I actually wanted to live. And part of the issue is I had this structure for things that worked really well when I was here. The habitat was really supportive of it here, but when I went there to Pittsburgh, I found what I really wanted wasn't supported. The ideas that I had creatively weren't very well supported, and the things that I actually wanted to do and pursue weren't well supported. And it's not that I didn't have any support system. I had friends who were there for me and who loved me and who cared about me. But again, I really believe strongly in, somebody said something when I was in my clinical mental health counseling masters that I dropped out of. That's a whole other story. But I was in my career counseling class, and this one person said this idea that, like, we all live in like an ecosystem, and we are like these microorganisms in an ecosystem, and the ecosystem is a combination of the people in your life and in your community, and everything that one person does ripples to the other. And whenever you try to make like a big change, like, it affects the entire ecosystem in little and big ways. because yeah, the ecosystem operates when everyone in the ecosystem kind of plays their part. It's like a constellation. Every star in the constellation is a pivotal point to connect the picture that the constellation creates and forms. And whenever something changes, the whole ecosystem kind of gets affected and gets turned off. So I stepped into Pittsburgh, and I had an ecosystem of people, and I had an ecosystem of places, and where I'd go to work, and where I went to study, and things I was studying and working on, and in terms of my job, to my university, and to even my extracurriculars of things I was doing. And what I found is that the structure that I wanted to bring, it didn't work for the setting. You know, the collaborations were not set up that I had to support the structure. The organizations around me weren't set up to support the structure for my life. My work was not set up to support that structure. My university and the degree that I was in didn't have enough degrees of support for what I was about and what I was doing. And so what happened was, anytime I pushed that, the ecosystem pushed back and said, no, get back to into this place, get back into this space. That's where you belong. And I was like, no, I don't. So I had to take my structure and put it in a different setting. And that's what I did. I left Pittsburgh. I moved to South Florida, and I brought my structure to this setting, and it works. And it works really well. And so that's an example. Like, sometimes you're just not in the right place. Sometimes you have to replace the place and remove yourself to a different place. So it's when you reset your structure, it's saying, oh wait, my structure actually wasn't bad. The things I wanted weren't bad. The habits I wanted to build weren't bad, but the habitat's not supporting it, so I need to change the habitat. I need to change where I do this. So that's typically a solution. Like, and a smaller one was, when I came back here, I tried to bring my structure to the same spaces. So like for my working out stuff, when I was trying to lose shape and lose weight and work out consistently, I tried to go back to the same gym I was in. And it just wasn't working. It was not working at all. It just no longer was the right setting for me to do things I wanted to do. And then I got a job, kind of close in the kind of the town next to mine. Town is a word from I live in Coral Springs. Parkland is nearby, and I got a job in Parkland. And though I could actually walk there, it was an hour 15-minute walk, which was exactly the structure that I had in place for how long I would walk. And you know, over an hour is my goal. So it set me up. It set me up to do that. Right nearby, there is a gym that I could stop at on the way in LA Fitness. And there's like whereas over this place, there's not like a rejuvenation space after you work out. I mean, they have a sauna and a spa, and a steam room. And so like, it was just a better setup for the structure that I wanted. So I would go, now I go to work. I work at this like holistic, healthy space, making like mostly organic food and like healthy food. So I'm surrounded by that. And then I on the way back, I am 5 minutes walk from there to my gym. So after work, I walk to my gym and I do the workouts that I was trying to do at this other gym, and it just wasn't working. And then I'm right nearby a health food store where I can get like shakes or like things that I need to just encourage the nutrition that I need for the condition that I'm creating in my body. So yeah, it's about, sometimes you have to have the right setup. This is just another example of like restructuring or resetting your structure. It's not that my structure didn't work. And, it just didn't work in Pittsburgh. It's not that my structure didn't work. It's just that I didn't have the setting in the places I was going when I was here. But then I reset that structure in a different place, in a different area. And it's like I activated, man. like seriously, man or woman, or yeah, I'm not trying to genderize. Anyway, So that's kind of like resetting your structure. Restructuring your setting is about when I came home. I live with my mom, and I realized that in order to do what I needed to do, I needed to go to a space where I could work on myself and work on myself and take a little bit of pressure off of me. And not everyone can do that. So I'm fortunate that I had that opportunity to live with my mom and kind of rebuild and restructure. But part of living with my mother was restructuring the setting. So I have there's a room that is my room, and then in the room next door, is where I kind of have my recording equipment and stuff like that. And the first couple weeks it just wasn't working. And then I went to trial for 3 months. I came back and it still wasn't working. And I had to restructure my setting in order to make it work. And my mom, fortunately, was in the process as well of trying to get in shape, trying to get more organized. And so, like, we kind of collaborated to do that. And that's an important thing, having a habitat where you can collaborate with the environment and with the people there. That's really important. So I was able to really collaborate with her more in setting up so like both of us could move to be healthier and stay in shape and to lose weight and to be more nutritionally together and all that. And so we started helping each other. And then I had to go through the house and start organizing my space in a way that I could create. And I had a clear space to create. There's a book I'm reading called Organizing for Creative People. I recommend it. I'm only in the beginning, but I've already seen the effects. It's really helped me it's encouraged me to kind of focus on one thing and on one art, which for me is speaking. It kind of helped me with that. But anyway, I had to restructure my setting. So I had to rearrange the room where I was going to create so that there was space. I had to like clean up my room and keep my room and like just reorganize my room. Because the first month there or whatever, I was just a mess. Because I had come back from a messy situation. But I had to kind of clean that up and make it so like when I woke up in the morning, it felt good to wake up where I was. And we have to kind of, I think, you have to work on your habitat to the point that it actually supports your habits, that you feel good pursuing healthy habits. And so it meant getting rid of some food and that I was using. It meant also just getting rid of some stuff that I was tripping over and that was getting in my way. And kind of, I'm not a minimalist or anything, but doing a little bit of minimalism in my life and just, I got rid of like half of my stuff. That was like one of the first things I did to kind of restructure my setting. So this is the process I use for storylining. It's the combination of structure and setting that creates the line that you can tell your story on, that you can story your life on and story your heart on, for me. So I use storylining to kind of help me organize and structure myself. Because again, the two things that I've come to recognize that are the most important things to create art or life is you gotta be healthy and you gotta be organized. It's like, it took me 10 years, guys, to recognize that. And if you are at a place where that's not where you're at, reassess. Because like, you will constantly find, this just from my experience, and I could be completely wrong. There are other people who operate in chaos better and who have a different point of view. But I have just found, I spent 10 years thinking that like I could just ride off my coattails and just ride off of my ideas, my creativity alone. And I didn't recognize that needed space, that creativity needed space and it needed clear space. And not just clean space outwardly, but my inner space needed to be cleansed and cleared. And my cup needed to be cleaned and emptied so that it could have room for the inspiration that hits and that fills and helps fulfill the things that inform my art forms and the things that allow me to do my art. So yeah, that's just something to consider. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Feel free to, put something in the comments. Or you can send me an email if you're curious about this process that I do. Or if you have one to share, it's rhetoricalartswithaz@gmail.com. rhetoricalartswithaz@gmail.com. So yeah, this is storylining. Yeah. So I just encourage anyone who feels like they're just not operating to their fullest self, or creating at the level that they feel like they should and have the ability to consider your health, how healthy you are to do that, and how if you have the setup, if you have the storyline to tell the story, creativity that you're desiring to live. Yeah, like I said, I was 343 pounds when I first came down to Florida in September. I'm now not that weight. I've had to let go of a lot of weight, and part of doing so was having a system and having organization. And I think sometimes there's a lot of weight on us psychologically and mentally and emotionally and physically, and sometimes even physically, that keeps us from moving towards our creative endeavors and pursuing our ideas and just being happy and being happier, and not that life is all about happiness, but being full, having a full experience in life. So if you feel weighed down from that, and held back from that, I'd encourage you to look at your health and look at your organization. So yeah, get at me if you have any questions or comments or something you want to say or share. Yeah, comment. You can put it in the comments, or you can email me. rhetoricalartswithaz@gmail.com. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.